So there's this big scandal going on right now that involves Dr. Seuss. If you've been anywhere near a right-wing outlet in the past day, you've been smacked in the face with this, and there's been a ton of bricks dropped on your head over it. Newsmax, One American News Network, Fox News, even some other nominally more moderate outlets are talking about this. I'm going to come back to the Dr. Seuss thing in a minute. This is like Culture War 101 trash, garbage. But there's another policy to discuss here. So we have Kevin McCarthy, one of the leading Republicans. He's going to give a speech on the floor. The thing to take away here is how casually and nonchalantly they lie. These people lie. So he's talking about H.R. 1. H.R. 1 is the Democratic bill. I'll come back and talk about what's in the bill, but take note of how he describes it, and take note about the line he has about Dr. Seuss.
Independent. Everyone has a personal story of your friend, your family, your neighbor receiving a ballot they shouldn't have. Every one of those stories erodes the trust in election integrity. Yet under H.R. 1, future voters could be dead or illegal immigrants, or maybe even registered 2 or 3 times. I guess Democrats just don't care as long as they get reelected. Third, H.R. 1 rewrites election law and imposes a one-size-fits-all partisan rules from Washington. Under the Constitution, we generally defer to states and counties to run elections. Democrats want to change that. First, they outlawed Dr. Seuss, and now they want to tell us what to say.
First, they outlawed Dr. Seuss, and then they want to tell you what to say. So the Dr. Seuss story, the Dr. Seuss company, I think it's called Dr. Seuss Enterprises, they said, hey, there's at least 39 Dr. Seuss books, probably over 40 Dr. Seuss books. They say, hey, we found 6 of them that are a little questionable because they're incredibly racially insensitive, like portraying some black characters as like monkeys or gorillas, and there's some that talks about slanted eyes for Asian people, and just, things here and there that are outdated historically that we look at now with our 2021 sensibilities and we go, that's a little uncomfortable. That's it. But the Dr. Seuss Enterprises company, on their own volition, said, these six books of the 39, 40, whatever books, these are the ones we're just going to slowly roll these back. I don't know if their long-term plan is to keep them off the shelf forever, or if their plan is to maybe change a handful of lines in the books and re-release them. But it's a company deciding on their own, we want to make some tweaks and some changes. Now, you're allowed to disagree with that, and I get it when people say, nobody was even really asking for this, so why are you doing this? I get it. I get all those criticisms. He said they outlawed Dr. Seuss books or whatever. Guys, the Democrats in Washington, D.C. had absolutely nothing to do with the Dr. Seuss thing. Not even close. Not a single Democrat proposed a single bill about Dr. Seuss or, racially insensitive stuff in books. Nobody in D.C. said or did anything involving this. It was that company. Now, by the way, what these guys tell us all the time is that the free market and capitalism, companies can make their own decisions and the government needs to butt out. So this is something that they should be celebrating. This is something that they should like. It's a company that decided on their own, we want to represent all communities better, so we're going to not do certain things. We're going to roll some stuff back. But no, they're throwing a tantrum, and he's misleading you by pretending like the Democrats had something to do with that. The other one is they're talking about how the company that makes Mr. Potato Head now changed it to Potato Head because for gender reasons or whatever. Now, is that goofy and silly? Yeah, I think it's goofy and silly. Again, nobody was asking for that. There's no reason to really do that. But the Republicans in Washington, D.C. are pretending as if Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Ilhan Omar and Joe Biden signed an executive order or some shit or proposed a piece of legislation that was like, from now on, there's no more Mr. Potato Head. It's just Potato Head. So guys, here's the point. Why do they do this? Because all they have is the culture war, which gets back to the legislation that he was actually talking about there. Every single thing he said about H.R. 1 was total bullshit. Total bullshit. I challenge you right now. Go to Google, type in H.R. 1, read all the provisions of H.R. 1. It's a long bill. There's a lot of stuff in there. But H.R. 1 has stuff like automatic voter registration, which is totally common sense and increases voting rights for people in this country, and I think other developed countries do that. It's of course what we should have. You shouldn't have to jump through hoops to exercise your right to vote. That flies in the face of it being a right. If you have to like get permits and shit, permit is derived from the word permission, which is not a right. That would be the opposite of a right. So yes, of course you should have automatic voter registration. That's obvious. But he acts like that's, one size fits all Washington, D.C. policy. So he lies about the actual policy, and he distracts with culture war garbage. By the way, you know what else is in H.R. 1? Anti-corruption measures. Limiting money in politics. So he's flat out pro-corruption. He's on the side of corruption. He's on the side of being against voting rights and making it harder for people to vote. That's why this clip is fascinating, because you get everything about modern Republican politics in one clip. What you see is outright lies and misinformation and disinformation about the policy in question, H.R. 1. Again, don't take my word for it. You can go read the bill. Look at all the provisions. There's anti-corruption stuff in there. There's ethics stuff in there. And there's automatic voter registration and other voting rights things in there. So he lies about the actual policy and diverts to the culture war shit, where he lies and misleads you about the culture war stuff too. Like Democrats outlawed doctors. The company that makes Dr. Seuss was like, we're going to make some minor changes. And you're blaming Democrats in D.C. who had nothing to do with it? Nothing to do with it. See, I'm telling you, man. See, this is that bullshit. There was a great tweet I saw yesterday. There's one Republican politician who was doing the same tap dance, right? They canceled Dr. Seuss and they canceled Mr. Potato Head. This is life in Biden's America. You know who was saying that? A Republican politician who voted against giving people COVID relief. This person is against the $2,000 checks. This person was against the $600 checks. And they're trying to get you all riled up over some culture war bullshit. Hey, I'm cool with you starving and not having enough money to live, and maybe also get COVID and die while you're at it. Totally fine with that. Not going to do anything. Not going to lift a finger to improve your life on that front. But Mr. Potato Head and Dr. Seuss, Republican Politics 101, divert, obfuscate with culture war shit where they are even misleading about that, while they try to take your attention away from the economic war and the class war that's being waged on you, from the donor class against working people. Totally unacceptable, but you see the dirty tricks here, clear as day.